There's a viral video going around about a man who left his wife at a Target.
12 o'clock, the game come on at 1, so we need to be in line by 12:30.
Moses, you're not about to rush me. I'm just walking around Target for a minute.
You got till 12:30. I swear I'm leaving.
This is something that's important to him.
Couple more things. He ain't gonna do nothing.
This is just a blatant lack of respect, lack of empathy.
Moses, you left me at that damn store for a day?
I told you, 12:30.
And we talk about this many times, and we said any relationship, you got to know what your non-negotiables are and then never negotiate them.
I'm not an alpha male. I'm not a beta male either. I'm just a better man.
Dante, there's a viral video going around about a man who left his wife at a Target, and I want you to see the reason why and if you think it's justified.
It's 12 o'clock, the game come on at 1, so we need to be in line by 12:30.
Moses, you're not about to rush me. I'm just walking around Target for a minute.
You got till 12:30. I swear I'm leaving. I gotta get home for the game come on at 1.
Why?
Because I have to go home, get my snacks ready, get in character, all of that.
What character?
Don't blame me. I'm not no casual. I'm a diehard. We don't watch the game like this.
Oh my goodness. No, we're just gonna walk around for a minute.
12:30.
Moses.
12:30.
Oh my goodness. Moses, I told you not to rush me. I just needed a few moments to look into.
12:30 and I'm leaving.
Okay, but I just wanted a few moments.
You had it. You had 30 of them.
This is ridiculous.
What's that basketball?
It's not even that serious.
It is.
All right. Let me just look at. One more thing. Just one more thing. Couple more things. He ain't gonna do nothing. I cannot believe this man. Moses, you left me at that damn store for a day?
I told you, 12:30. And it's not just a game. Don't do that.
Moses.
This is history.
Moses.
This is history.
I just had to call an Uber home because you left me.
You wouldn't have had to if you would have just came at 12:30 like I told you. And it's not a game. Don't do that. This is history. They've been this good since the 50s.
Moses,
was you born in the 50s?
it is a game.
Was you born in the 50s?
It is a game.
Was you born in the 50s?
It is a
No,
game.
it's not. It's history.
You left.
So this is what's crazy about this and anything like this is I think this is just a blatant lack of respect, a blatant lack of empathy. I'm always in a situation where I'm always willing to compromise, but we talk about this many times, and we said any relationship, you got to know what your non-negotiables are and then never negotiate them, right? So here's a situation where this is something that's important to him. I don't know what his response would be if it was something important to her, or something that meant a lot to her. I mean, clearly they got a couple of kids. They got a couple of kids. This is also a situation where the kids seem to be into it as well. So this is a woman who doesn't really understand what is important to him, that this game, I mean, I'm not a big, sports
guy,
fan,
yeah.
But I know guys that are. I know that the joy of their life exists in some other dudes running around in tights, throwing a ball around. I get it. I'm not.
Okay, well, when you say it like that, it does make it sound.
Look, I get it. It's not my thing. But what I'm saying is, in essence, and I get that people are fans like that. I mean, I think I was even a fan like that. Used to be a big Yankees fan. But the bottom line is we get to this. That's not really the point. Whether I think it's important or not. The point is that he thinks it's important. And the point is that she doesn't think it's important and she doesn't care. And so he's being clear about how important this is. And she's just disregarding the fact that he thinks that this particular thing is important. And so at one point in time, I mean, first of all, you got to consider that he is there. So he knew the game was coming. He could have not went if he really didn't want to go. So he went, which I think is a compromise to a certain extent. Clearly the kids are there. It's not like he's not a family man. If we go back to that, if you go back to the end of that clip, you see the kids are all dressed up in garb. They're all Detroit Lions fans too. So it's not like he's neglecting the family, but this is just it's like you're not even trying to, as a woman is not even trying to get She doesn't have even anything specifically in mind. I just want to look at this.
I just want to look around. Yeah, yeah.
And she also says, what key is, she says, you're not about to rush me. So if you're gonna take that kind of that level of inconsideration when clearly this is direly important to him, why not? I mean, it's Target.
It's always there.
It's always there. It could be there after the game.
This is less about her doing her shopping and more about trying to test him and control him. And that's the thing this is why people hate marriage and people don't want to get married, is stuff like this where you pick a partner, though. It's your fault, but you pick a partner that doesn't care about your needs, right? And that's to him something that's important. That's something that he cares about. And she doesn't care. Not only that, but she's filming it, right?
Yeah.
But I like that the dude left her at the Target.
Sure.
Like, teach her a lesson. I told you what time we have to be out. Zero consideration. Okay, well, now I got to leave your ass at a Target. You got to Uber home, see if I care.
Yeah.
I told you, right? And so that's how you teach lessons is like that. Like, you give consequences, I
have to say this, though. I probably would have took the Uber home. What's funny is he has a Detroit Lions spatula, which is really a sign of the fact that he is serious about his football team, and so are the kids. The kids got necklaces on, and I just think this is so ridiculous.
Well, you know what? I say let's take the football out of it, right? Whatever it is, it doesn't matter whether it's football, a book club for her, or a get together, just brunch, whatever it is. It's just a lack of respect. He can't move the time frame of what's going on.
Right.
So that's the time frame you got to honor. If it's something he could move, obviously you do it at another time.
Right.
Right. But this is the thing. She doesn't care. It's not about that. It's about the control and her wanting to do what she wants to do anytime she wants to do it. And this is the reason dudes hate getting married, because you end up in a situation where you can't do whatever you want. I hate golf. Can't stand it. But guys want to play golf with they can't do it. Oh, I can't go out. So-and-so's going, oh, I can't go out because you got to ask permission. And this is what you end up putting yourself in a corner where you're no longer married to a woman. You're married to a boss or a supervisor.
It doesn't even have to be married. It's not even
relationships.
Marriage is just the final precursor to it, to the control. But I know guys who are getting, who are not married. I don't know if you told a good friend of the show, Pete Lee's getting divorced again.
He's getting divorced? Well, I saw that coming. It's only been like 2 or 3 years he's been married now.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to tell you, what's interesting about all of this is it's funny because I was talking to Ryan Reese, who's a good friend of the show as well. And Ryan is a guy who you got to understand, like, this is what it means by knowing your non-negotiables and then never negotiating them. And recognizing how you respond to things, that you literally are in a situation where you can decide what's important to you and what's not important to you. And you really do have control over how your relationship unfolds, what's important, what's not important, all of those things. You got to have these conversations. There has to be some level of communication. And if you're willing to compromise these things up front, then expect them to be compromised on the back end. Also, not just that, if you're firm about anything and you're not willing to stand 10 toes down and say, this is who I am and this is what I am, and it goes awry, right? Don't expect somebody who doesn't care about your happiness in the first place, who that's not a concern for them, or what making your life easy is not, it's not important. It's we don't get hooked up together and then try and figure it out on the way through. We should have conversations about what it is I like. And look, it's like I said, football's not a huge, I like watching football. I love football. But I won't even say I love football. I enjoy football. But I'm not going to let somebody take what I do. I mean, I don't have that's how I lost. That's how I my divorce. That's how I ended up divorced, because comedy was important to me, and somebody was just telling me, you don't. Well, you don't have to. Why do you have to travel to do comedy? Why you got to always do comedy? Why you got to? And what's interesting is that my first wife, all she wanted to, she was going to school. She went for a bachelor's. This is all stuff she didn't do till much later. She had a daughter. She was, she was working. She had a daughter. But she went for her degree. Then she went for her master's, and then finally it was like my comedy was coming into place. But she wanted to go for a PhD, and I was like, well, this is interesting that you're going to dedicate yourself to a PhD when you've never really been a wife in the first place. I mean, I was down with the fact that she pursued this. But then when it came to me traveling and doing comedy and doing the things that I wanted, that I loved and what I wanted to do, it was unacceptable. And so when you see the writing on the wall and you see that somebody is not, you got to have a conversation. I don't think that particular couple is in a bad place, because number one, if he was in a really bad place where he was controlled, he wouldn't have left. He wouldn't have dared left.
Right.
So the simple fact he jumped in his car, grabbed the kids, and went home says that he hasn't lost all his balls yet. But,
yeah. He's setting some boundaries, so that's good. So he's in a good situation with that. Telling her and making consequences. That's the big deal.
Yeah.
If you set a boundary and somebody crosses it, and he clearly set a boundary.
Yeah.
Right at the 12:30 mark. She didn't care. She was doing it on purpose just to kind of fuck with him. Yeah. Like, I'm not going to be rushed. I don't care about you.
You ain't leave me for some game. Just like, it's you can see that this is not going to go any further than that. But ultimately, this could be a problem down the road. Go ahead.
Now, the other thing you always talk about is, and we always bring this up, is that this is not the first indicator of something going wrong.
No.
That's why it's important to have those conversations, right? We need to have the thing is, guys never want to have the conversation because they don't want to deal with the fight and the fallout, and also they're worried that if they piss off their lady, that she will leave and that they will have a tough time finding another one. That's the reason guys don't do that. And what you don't realize is that when you have those conversations, when you put your foot down, when you set the boundaries, women respect you more. Sure. They appreciate it more. They're more attracted to you. Yeah. What happens is if you continue just, letting her get away with stuff, then she starts to be disgusted by you. Yeah. That you have no spine and no backbone. So it goes to the thing you talked about, the rule about if you feel a tingle in your nuts, you're about to get kicked in the balls.
Yeah. Yeah. This is never a situation where you revert back to it always reverts back to the same stuff that was a problem before. Is all the time. Anytime I do a consultation or something, the guy tells me, out of nowhere, she was great, and then she changed, and I go, no, she didn't. No, she didn't. You weren't looking. You didn't want to see what was there in the first place because you had a girl. You figured it was all good. It was going to be good, and then you put yourself in a position where this ended up being a situation where she was always at. And here's the other thing: you don't get that a lot, where women are not clear about who they are up front. Sometimes you do. Very rarely do you do. A girl will show you who she will give you hints to who she is in the first place, and so will a guy. A guy will do the same thing. If you love what we're doing here, go to patreon.com. It's the best way to support us, and check out all the bonus content.
That's right. Patreon.com/manschool202. We do weekly bonus episodes. We do listener mail, dating tips, and also, if you love the show, you can go back to the archive starting from episode 1. All the episodes will be there at patreon.com/manschool202. But, there aren't women who go, oh, I want to be a mom, and then they have kids, and then they're not a mom. Yeah. Does that exist? Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. That was my first wife. She had her daughter specifically to trap her first boyfriend. She had no idea this was just selfish. I'm gonna do this to keep him. And and then when I got in the picture, I mean, I was like, I was help raising her kid, and the funny thing was, I was like, well, does the father pay any child support? And she was like, no, I'm not going. I can do it myself. And I was like, this is it. I didn't even see that. Like what I see now is I didn't even see that as an issue then.
Right. Which is funny because you're not able to do it yourself. I know you're not able to do it with yourself.
Right, because I'm helping yourself. Right. And how about this? That child support money is not your money. Like, it's not for you, it's for her. So even if you don't want to take his money, he should be paying. Just if he had this child and he was with her, and then he left. Now here's what he did. He left and went and got another family, right? But what ultimately
he upgraded like a lease?
Well, I don't know if he upgraded.
This family's all beat up. I need something better.
I mean, and it was like young, or maybe he just never wanted it in the first place. It was the selfishness, but still, he does bear a certain level of responsibility himself because of the fact that this is the road that he went down. My other thing about this was it's just hitting me now. Somebody who is willing to have a baby to trap you in is somebody who wants to control you. They don't care whether this is what you want or this is not what you want. What they're ultimately saying is, I want you to do this. If you don't do this, then you're not worthy. And, if somebody thinks that way, I get it. People are selfish all the time.
Looking back, do you remember a lot of the red flags that you did miss? Like any more of the red flags?
She really wasn't a great mother to her own child.
In what sense? Just not around, not involved?
She literally verbally said, I'm not gonna be one of those mothers that don't have a life. I'm gonna have a life. And I was like, no, the fuck you not. You are gonna, she's the priority. No matter what you think is the priority, doesn't matter. The little girl is the priority. She didn't ask to come here. You brought her here. And because you brought her here, you're responsible for her. And one of the reasons why, often people talk about single moms, dating single moms. And this is a little off the video, but you can, people say, there's all these red pill idiots on, and they're talking about the, single mothers for recreation use only. Yeah, and so can a woman with no children could be recreation. The reality of it is that what we need to do is stop creating these boxes, trying to put people in boxes. If you don't mind a single mother, I don't have a problem with you dating. I'm not here to tell you what your happiness is. What I am here to tell you, and what the whole point of this show is to tell you what you're up against, so that when you're in a situation where you're trying to step into a situation, you understand all the variables and you're making a decision, not letting emotion have a seat at the table, so that you make these decisions, and then on the back and all the stuff that was attached to single motherhood, or somebody who, because it doesn't even have to be, because you could have a single mother who understands that and appreciates the fact that you're in the building, helping out, trying to be a father to this kid, and she could be super grateful and have no problems. She can go above and beyond the fact that she's trying to please you. But if she's a single mother and don't take care of her kid, doesn't take care of you, it's going to put you behind, and then not even appreciate, because she's always going to put her kid first. But if she, there's also situations like, I don't like nobody around me that much. I like my space. I love sitting up. I mean, look behind me. I love sitting down, reading a book. I don't want somebody in my face, and I don't want somebody looking in my face while I'm reading, staring over me. It all depends on you. We have to define what our happiness is.
One thing you brought up that I really like, because I focus on the relationship and the marriage, but these are boundaries you can set when you're dating somebody, even on the first date. I remember the story, and you can tell this story of a girl who was not on time. I don't know if you remember that. We've talked about this one before.
What Well, there's a couple of those,
There's a
but
couple of those. Well, one I think you just left. Do you remember? Do you recall that one?
oh yeah, yeah. I mean, I actually, I mean, a lot of them I just left. One, I first time I was dating this girl, and we had talked about it, and we set up the date, and I was going, I was going to take her to a show, and then we were going to go to dinner, and then go do something else, and I got there, pulled up. I think I waited 15, 20 minutes. I called. I called her phone. I called at the phone at that time. I think I don't know. I just kept calling. I don't know if I knew the bell, but I went to the bell, and then I saw they had the same. She lived with her mom at the time, and so they had the same name. And I rang the bell. She's not here, and I left. 15 minutes I left. She says, "Well, where are you at?" She goes, "Oh, I just got home. I was trying to get an outfit to go out." But I go, "Yeah, I'm gone. I got a show to do." She was like, "Well, are you coming back?" "No, I'm absolutely not coming back." She says, "Well, can I meet you where you are? Where you going?" I go, "Okay, I'll text you the address. You want to meet me? You can meet me." She met me at the club, right? Absolutely looked amazing. She was smoking hot, right? But then had an attitude because it was wintertime. And because it was cold, her walking in, so she had and I said, "Look," she got there, was like, "Look, you got an attitude? Because if you got an attitude,
just go home.
You could go home." Like I'm not. I was there. I did my part, and you didn't. No, I don't have an. I'm just cold. All right, well, let's be clear, because if you don't want to, we could just not have the date. I mean, you're living your life just fine. I'm living my life just fine. I'm trying to come together so we could kind of share something. But if you're not willing to share it in a real place, then I'm not. We could just not do it. And
and there's a couple things in that I find interesting. First of all, there's tests there, right? And so we talk about the test that women do, which is subconscious, but it's instinctual. She's always got a test to be that you're a worthy man, a worthy mate, right? So she tests you by just going, "Hey, I was late," and basically you go, "Well, I'm leaving." So that's one test.
I didn't even say I was leaving. I left. I was.
You left. Fair enough. So that's already one.
She called me. She said, "Where are you?" And I said, "I left."
Yeah, that's one. The second one was, "Are you coming back to pick me up?" No.
Nope.
That's the second one. Third one, she gets over there. Now she's starting to give you crap about the fact that she had to walk through the cold, right? That's the third one. So you can call them tests or gripe, but they always double down on whatever it is. They will always attempt. But she respected the fact that you kind of turned her down, so to speak, that you left, because she's used to being having dudes do whatever they want, having dudes wait in their car, having dudes have to come back later, having dudes, listen, "Well, I'm sorry, even when they didn't do anything wrong."
Sometimes they don't even say "I'm sorry." It just is, this is how I have counseled guys where the girl has said, "Well, you're gonna have to get used to that, because that's just the way I am."
No, I don't mean sorry from the girl. I mean that the guy has to say, "I'm sorry."
Right.
No, I'm sorry that it was so cold.
Well, yeah.
"Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry that So I'm just saying 3 tests, and it's all subconscious, and it's all women do it, and it's just a thing that's instinctual. That's part of our makeup. But you have to be stronger than that makeup, because society has totally shifted everything. But when you're stronger, and when you are willing to do what you think is appropriate, and not give up unnecessary compromises that are not compromises but disrespect, she has more affection for you. She has more admiration for you.
I also realize that I think as I get older, I realize how common this is in just humanity overall, and not just women. There's this constant demonization of women that I think guys do, because guys have to pursue, and because they're the ones that have to deal with the rejection. But the reality is, nobody can take advantage of you if you don't let them. If you're not letting them take advantage of you, they don't get to take advantage of you. If somebody is abusive and you don't give them access to you, then they can't abuse you. If you got somebody, this is the whole thing about when you talk about blocking people on the phone, and this is why I'm so against blocking on the phone, because you block them on the phone, right? And that's really for you. It's more for you than it's an ego trip because you want to be able to say I blocked you. But what you really should do is have her call and just not pick up the phone because you wanted the subtext of that is I don't care. I didn't even think enough of this to block your number. Now it's different. I think if somebody's stalking you or harassing you, but you can't stalk somebody on the internet. You know what I mean? You could just not. All you have to do is just not respond. So it's a crazy thing. But it's so interesting how Ace comes into play. And the fact that your credibility is you got to say what you mean and mean what you say. And if you're saying I need you to be on time or this is important to me, you have to stand 10 toes down. And it doesn't matter what it is. It just can't be everything. Like you can't, there's always a compromise. We always make a compromise. I think it's really important to look at that too. But I realize that the nature of human beings, what we see as important and what's not important is different. And sometimes if we don't have the empathy, which is the E in Ace, that we don't have the empathy to see that this is important to somebody. And just because it's not important to me doesn't mean it's not important to them. And why not just stay by your damn self? Like if you're not willing to be in a relationship, it means compromise. It means growth. It means doing for each other. It means sharing things. If you're not willing to do that, keep it moving. GYBB, get your balls back. WWDD, What Would Dante Do? The Sexual Revolution is being podcasted. If you need a consultation, go to DanteNero.com, click on consult. If you want Harry, go to advicefromharry@gmail.com. Don't forget to sign up for the Patreon. It's www.patreon.com/manschool202. Sign up for that. It's a great way for us to support us, if you would, please. It's the best way to support us. Thank you so much. Peace. We out of here.
I'm not an alpha male. I'm not a beta male either. I'm just a better man. Well, put your happiness first, because if you don't, they won't.